Back in 2018, I was really struggling with being in the land of good enough. And if you are a high achiever and you've tried to achieve more, but you feel like you've sabotaged yourself or something was holding you back, you want to listen to this because I'm going to be sharing exactly how I overcame that same thing. And yes, I'm going to be using myself as a case study. Hey there, if you're new to me, welcome to the conversation. My name is Dan Candell. I'm known worldwide as the anxiety relief guy. I'm a board certified clinical hypnotist and a high performance specialist. And I help people who are high achievers, high performers, have more breakthroughs and breakdowns, more wins and more good days than bad days by syncing their subconscious mind, their nervous system with their goals and their dreams, desires, and outcomes. So let's get started. So if you don't know, the land of good enough is a term that I give to when we are trying to achieve something, but we essentially just start coasting. And it's very difficult to achieve more because we are in this state of just doing what's familiar and not even really comfortable, but just that which is familiar. And it can be a grind where you start meeting up against all these brick walls that you try and break through, but it can be almost impossible to make a breakthrough. And I'm going to share with you why and also how I overcame that. So first and foremost, I am in the industry of helping people. And if you are or know somebody who is a coach, a therapist, a hypnotist, a mentor of some sorts, then there is this mentality of more. And in order to be successful, you have to see more clients, you have to write more blog posts, you have to record more videos, you have to do this, and speak more and just more. And there's this concept with the more clients you see, the more successful you are, or the more you charge, the more successful you are. So I was buying into that reality because I've been doing this since I was literally 13 years old. I was first trained as a hypnotist when I was 13 years old, and I opened up my very first in-person office hypnosis practice when I was fresh out of college, 22 years old, April 1st, 2010. So I've had the identity of being a hypnotist for more than half my life. And I'm 37 now. I've been doing this for more than half my life, certainly, and it is an absolute blessing. But I did get to that point where I was just doing the grind. I was seeing 6 to 10 clients a day, 4 to 5 days a week. Then I would travel on the weekends and I'd either do comedy shows or I'd travel and I'd speak to big groups of people, hundreds of entrepreneurs and business owners and sales professionals. I'd do these massive group sessions where people would hire me to do group sessions. And I was just like, I was all over the place. I was traveling all over the world. I was going on tour. And then while I was on tour, I was still working with people virtually. And it seemed like from the outside, like I was living the dream life. But really, on the inside, I was burnt out. I was exhausted. And I was getting so damn frustrated with myself. And I'm like, there's got to be something better. Now, again, I was measuring myself up against the expectations of the coaching industry, which you have to charge a lot of money and you have to see a lot of clients. And you have to have these marathon days. And then you have to go and you have to run these events, or you have to speak at conferences and conventions. And then you have to teach what you do so that you make money that way. And then you start teaching what you do. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was like I was just chasing the next dollar. And that became such an exhausting rat race. It's like, okay, I've done this. Now I gotta chase the next dollar. Now I gotta do this, and this is gonna make me more money. And I gotta do this, and this is gonna make me more money. And it was like this exhausting hamster wheel that just kept going. And if you are a professional in any industry or an entrepreneur, then you totally get the grind. And what that's based off of is the expectations of other people that are set by you for your industry. So what happened in 2018? In 2018, I became burnt out. I went to the doctor and as I usually do, I went for a routine physical. I got back from the doctor. I was in Virginia meeting some friends for dinner, and the doctor called me and said, you need to come back. We found an abnormality in your blood. we think you have leukemia or some form of leukemia. I went into this deep, dark place, and then I did some of my own inner work, and I was like, I need to change my life. I can't keep doing this. I don't want to keep doing this. I don't want to keep doing the rat race anymore. And it really affected me. Long story short, I did not have leukemia. I ended up like hiring a nutritionist and a personal trainer and got in tip-top shape. But then I started making shifts, not just personally, I started making shifts professionally as well. And here's what I started to do, and here's how I did it. The first thing I did was I had this big like jacuzzi tub and in my house. And I just sat in the jacuzzi tub one day, and I just allowed my mind to wander, and I lit candles, and I played some meditation music, and I just went into this like Zen-like state. And I asked myself, like, what do I really want? What do I see myself doing? And I saw myself leading these really big communities, and people looking up to me, and people following me. And almost like I was a mentor or a coach, not a guru. I hate the word guru, but like I was a mentor or a coach that people could look up to, and they saw value in following me, and that I was taking care of them and they were taking care of me, like a mutually beneficial thing. They were paying to be part of my program, and it was and I was helping them through many areas of life, but instead of doing one-to-one, I was doing one-to-many. And when I started going through that epiphany moment, I'm like, can I do that with the current lifestyle that I have now? And I said, no, absolutely not. So I looked at other people who are in my industry or in similar industries who are already doing something like that. And I did a deep dive. I researched them. I studied them. And I'm like, what are they doing that I now need to do? And the first thing that I realized and discovered that they were doing is they would produce programs for the masses. They wouldn't produce for one-to-one. They'd produce things for the masses. I also looked and I'm like, okay, these people also have teams. Like they have teams to help them out. They have a marketing team. They have a support team. They have a virtual assistant. They're also working smart. They're not really working hard. They're engaging in profitable activities. So what I essentially did is created this profile of the person that I needed to be. Now, in order to become that person, I had to do some really uncomfortable shit. I had to let go of things in my life that were familiar, that were comfortable, and that were easy. I had to let go of so much stuff. One of the things I had to let go of was a relationship, which was so hard and painful to do. Now, again, I'm not telling you that you should go and break up with your spouse or partner or get a divorce. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that that relationship stopped growing, and I couldn't grow while still being in that relationship. That was really hard. That was probably one of the most difficult things I had to do. One of the other things that I did was I started associating myself with groups of people who had already achieved what I was setting out to achieve. I started asking for more. So I started getting really uncomfortable because I hated asking for things. So I started asking for more. I asked for help. I sought out the help of the right people. I hired a virtual assistant. I hired a marketing team. And guess what? When I started identifying with more of being an influencer, a content creator, and a coach, I don't like the word coach, but for lack of better words right now, a coach or a mentor to lead and influence the masses, guess what happened? I started building a massive following, and I started being consistent, and I started producing, and it changed the entire way that I did my business. And that was about 2019 where I started making that shift. And it did take a little while for it to work out. We didn't have overnight successes, but the things that I was producing allowed me to be more congruent with what I wanted. The hard part was I started to redefine myself. And I'm like seeing all those clients individually, because I had literally seen thousands and thousands of clients for years. I was seeing 6 to 10 clients a day. And then I'd go and do group sessions, and then I'd go and do shows, and then I would speak at conferences, and then I'd travel and speak at other coaching conventions for other people's coaching groups, and I'd hypnotize rooms of hundreds and hundreds of people all at the same time to help them become more successful, reduce stress, reduce anxiety. And I started to do things that were more congruent with the person that I needed to be. And that carried me until about 2022, 2023. And I was like floating on this cloud. And yes, I had a lot of challenges. I had a lot of personal and professional stuff I had to work through. But guess what? I had this in my mind. Like, I no longer have to be the one-to-one guy. And I loved all of my clients. I loved doing it. But people after a while started to become transactional. And I needed to break out of that because the people I was seeing, they deserved better. And fortunately, as soon as I realized that my clients were becoming transactional, at that very moment, that's when I start to change things. Because I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this. I want people to make sure that they're getting like all of me and I'm getting all of them, and only allowing those people into my programs. So I really started to change my business because I changed who I was as a person. And guess what happened? Around late 2022, early 2023, I joined a program where I was like, okay, this is going to help me go to the next level. And guess what happened? That program kind of messed with my mind a little bit. It messed with my mind because going into that program, I didn't redefine who I was to go into that program. So I wasn't getting the most out of the program. I wasn't working that program. And it was a business program that taught you how to go from here, where I built to go from here even greater and greater and greater. And no matter how hard I tried, I kept hitting a wall. I kept hitting these barriers and coming up with these obstacles. And I'm like, what the fuck? And for a while, I blamed the program. And guess what? It had nothing to do with the program. It had everything to do with the person that I was. Just like I did back in 2018, 2019, where I had to redefine myself. When I joined this program, I also had to redefine myself, and I forgot. I forgot to redefine myself. And even though I do this work with people all the time, I literally just didn't think to do it. I thought I was already the person I needed to be in that program, and I wasn't. So I was in that program for about a year, and I had some great wins. It taught me a lot, and I also had a lot of losses. And 2023 was a year of just really like going back to the grind, and it felt like whatever I was doing was working a little bit, but it wasn't working enough. And I felt like the year of 2023, it just wasn't enough. And again, like looking into that, I had to really do some soul searching and some digging and figure out like what the hell. Like I'm grinding my gears, I'm working really hard, and then I realized again, it's not about doing all that really hard work. It's about working really smart and also building my team with people that are congruent with my goals and that resonate with the process that I'm doing, and we can all support one another. And I had a lot of team members that I really loved, but I had to let go of. And it took me a long time to realize that my team is not my family. Even though I like to treat them as my family sometimes, and again, all the people that work with me, I absolutely love and adore them. Yet, I really had to separate personal relationships that I thought of having with my team members to business relationships. And it doesn't mean we don't get personal. We do. It doesn't mean we don't have love and admiration for one another. We do. And I have several members on my team. We also have an understanding if we're doing something and it doesn't work out, then there's not really a need for you to be on my team at that moment. So these are all things that I had to learn. And in order to do it, I not only used my own mental magic tricks that I teach people, but I also changed my entire messaging. I changed some things about myself. I changed who I associated with. Again, I let go of people in my life, and it was a very painful process. In fact, it's still happening. And the same evolution that I went through in 2018, 2019, I'm now going through again. And with a lot of loss, there's also a lot of newness. And like I just got married last week, and that was something so new that I never thought I would ever do. And I did, and I'm so happy and fulfilled with that area of my life. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is to help show you that in order to do what you want to do, you really need to start changing who you are to do things congruent with what you want to grow to. And the reason why you're not there yet is because you're not that person that you need to be yet. And one of the other ways that I went there, and one of the other ways I made changes, was I started working with people that I admire to help them with me do my own inner work. And I had a session with one of my very good friends about a week ago, and it was a really deep hypnosis session. And I got so much out of that session because I made so many insights and so many connections. And I wouldn't have done that if I didn't work with him. And the amazing thing is, the same thing that he did with me, it's also what I do with people in my group programs. It's what I do with people even individually when I still see people individually, because I do still take on some individual clients. You do have to jump through some hoops in order to work with me individually, but I still do take on some individual clients. But the majority of what I'm doing is group work, because I found a way to make the group work even more effectively than some of the individual work that I'm doing. So the reason why I'm talking to you about this, the reason why I'm sharing this is, again, so that way you can understand that, you know, in order for change to happen on the outside, in order for growth to happen on the outside, let me tell you, you're really going to make some changes on the inside. And because of all of these realizations and insights that I've made over the past 6-7 years, these are parts of my program that we now put a lot of focus into. I have a 12-week program that really helps you transform, and it helps you break free from the anxiety, from the stress. And many people don't even realize how stressed or anxious they are until they start going through the program, and they feel more present, they feel more confident, they can step up to the plate and be the best selves for themselves instead of trying to be their best selves for everybody else. And this is really where you want to go and the change that you want to make. So this isn't just about breaking free from limiting anxiety or overwhelm or stress. It's about helping you become the very best version of you that you need to be so you can make the changes you want to make. If you want to find out more about how that works, all you have to do is just schedule a call with a member of my team, and you can do that by clicking the link that is somewhere around this video. It will bring you to our call page. There's another video which breaks down the exact process of how I work with people, of what I call my subconscious synchronization method, and it is the exact method that I have now used to help hundreds and hundreds of people in my group programs and thousands of individuals worldwide. So with that said, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Make sure you rate, follow me, subscribe, even leave a comment. Let me know if this resonated with you. I know I talked a lot about myself today, and I usually don't do that, but I wanted to use myself as a case study so you can see that even somebody who does the work still needs to do the work. With that said, my friends, as always, be well, do good, be true to who you are, happy healing, and follow for more. Bye for now.